Hi, this is Sharaz Walji from Astral Connections, and here with me I have Virgil. Help me pronounce your last name, Virgil.
Krown.
Krown. Thanks, Virgil. Virgil is a psychic, he's a medium, and he's a clinical hypnotherapist. And I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Virgil, so I really enjoyed his company, and he's with us on Mondays. He does readings here on Mondays and hypnotherapy sessions as well. He's here for our psychic fairs, and he's also giving workshops here. Pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tell me something about yourself, Virgil. Tell me about your life first. Tell me a little bit about your childhood, and tell me a little bit about your early days.
Really, the most important thing, because it happened about 4 years ago, which is, up to that time I had a standard life. But at that time I just had a major psychic in England call me and inform me that I was psychic. And suddenly everything just turned around.
Something must have prompted that call.
Yeah, that's a good question. He is one of the best psychics in the world. He is one of the best spiritual. His name is Roy Andrew Bennett. He was just worked with the United Kingdom government to establish rules for energy healers for the United Kingdom, so they'd be able to put tests out and find out who's real and who isn't. Okay. He came here and I worked with him with 6 weeks. He did 6 shows here in the Lower Mainland. He did healing on stage, which was scientifically impossible, but I filmed it, I saw it for real, and I said, there's something really incredible. I had diabetes after finishing working with him. He never healed me, but I no longer had diabetes. It was completely cured. It was when I applied for insurance and everything, my blood, all my samples, everything gone. I had to cut my foot, which normally could have taken weeks or ended in amputation. Within an hour I was healed. Wow. So that was, this is real.
An awakening in
itself. It was real, you know, so and being a very scientific type of person, thinking of that, it provided what I need. This is proof that this works. So I worked with him for 6 weeks, filming, and then I took his spiritual healing workshop. So I learned healing, and then doors just opened for me. And since that time, as you mentioned, I've done hundreds and hundreds of readings, and I've never advertised. This is most probably the first advertisement that's ever been done for me. Purely and simply, it's been word of mouth. People, you got to talk to this guy and do that, you know. And that's kind of where things started. And of course, I worked with a young lady who was very close to Lois, who helps run Astral Communications. So it was Kim that brought me over to meet Lois, and then there's an instant connection between Lois and myself. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady, and
I've met Kim very briefly 2 years ago because of the London Drugs connection, of course.
Exactly, and of course, and she is a very talented Thai massage, you know, and magical things like that. So, and she opened the door. She actually came in, and I did my first healing session with Kim.
Oh, wonderful.
But that gave me a
ask you about your first healing session, and you prompted yourself, so that's kind of... So,
and then, and she also made sure she paid the full amount for healing, because so many people, well, you don't have the confidence to charge. But then I recognized, this really happens. She knows her stuff, and wonderful, wonderful things being with the here at Astral is you meet enough really genuine psychics. They would know a phony or fraud the moment they saw it, and just that you get this positive responses back. It gives you that assurance that maybe, you know, there's something here I have to offer. You know, the very fact that they're asking, so it reaffirms the validation in myself. Because sometimes just in yourself, like us all, we feel not skilled, not competent. What am I doing? I'm just fooling the world and fooling myself. When in fact, you are something very special. And of course, that's the people watching the video, is every person out there has something special to offer, and that's one of the things that I work with.
Can you tell me about a client maybe, or an experience you've had with a client that would help the audience understand more about how you work with your clients?
Well, what I specialize, I do everything, because I just go where spirit takes me, but most of the people that come to me want to change their lives. They want to, things aren't working. And if you notice, the world is not working like it used to. The stock market's going crazy. All these things going crazy. And you find people out of work or people in the job, and things just don't make sense anymore. I do the same thing I did and was successful, and it doesn't work anymore. And that's where I come in, because I can be able to say, okay, let's look at some of these avenues you haven't looked at and see what. So take an example, a lady who was 70 years old. She'd been gypped of her life, really, because what had happened is she got married really early. She had children, you know what a full-time job that is. And then one of her children had children early, and her daughter was unable to take care of her, so now she got a second set of children, which took her for another 15 years. And then one of her earlier children got hit by a car, so the moment she got raised by the children went out, she had to now take care of her daughter, who was now invalided from an accident. So it's a matter of, okay, it's your time. You're 70 years old. All your life you spent for everyone else. And the important thing it's time you got selfish. So what happened as a result of the meeting, within a week, her incapacitated daughter was accepted by a hospital. So she no longer had to forfeit her life. And she started making decisions as, okay, I'm allowed to be selfish. Because I've earned this. I've done all this giving to everyone else my life. And so she started, now she had a really lovely man come into her life, and it was just a relationship. And then her job changed. And because she still had to make money to keep ends meet, but she was able to do something that she really loved. And another interesting thing is that she had youth come back. It was her attitude that changed. And so much of how young we are, it is how you think. And she was so responsible for everyone else, and suddenly just giving her you have permission. Go and live. Go and do something exciting. What are your dreams? Have you reached out for your dreams? And we all have dreams. But she started doing it, and her face started changing. Literally, it started becoming younger. And she's now doing things, living life, every moment counts. She's and her whole life has changed. And she was a very, very giving individual. So it's only right that life comes back and rewards her. Now it's your time. And that's a classic example. Just giving the person the right nudge, because everything's there. It's the person that's the important thing.
So then give me an idea of the different types of services you can provide a client in a hypnotherapy session. I understand you're a dental and medical hypnotherapist.
Right. Okay. I am a certified. Where I got my schooling, I got a certificate. There are many schools of hypnotherapy out there, but I went to the one school that has accreditation with the university, with the medical department of the university. So that is, the things they don't do is they have their students go out and buy a PhD for $200 and put it on the name. It is totally ethical, acceptable and they're the only school that is acceptable by, in this case, the University of Alberta, and they're totally working, creating programs. So when you work with a doctor could have, let's say they have a child that still bedwets or has nightmares or all that, then you can come in and help the child relieve the anxiety or the dream coming from that. You're also... So
you're working in conjunction with a medical doctor?
You can, yes.
Where you can.
And where you can, because doctors can take a 2.5-day course, but they don't get the training in the problems. Sometimes when you meet a person, and let's give a classic, I'm making this up, this is not... Let's say we have a woman who's very good looking, but she hates the attention she gets because of her looks.
Right.
So she starts overeating. And her changes, so she no longer has any problem with peeping on her looks, but she's now 100 pounds overweight. So it's not, I want to lose weight. Well, the problem is not the weight, it's a symptom. It's her self-image that she's having problems there. And there's something there, she's maybe had a very uncomfortable experience where, attention was shown too closely, and she had an unfortunate experience. So in hypnotherapy, you can go back to that original instance where she disliked herself,
Right.
being good looking. And you can go back and you can change that. So now she takes things in proportion. She likes herself. She knows how to accept that attention. And you know, a miracle happens without a diet, without a changing. She starts losing weight.
Wow.
Completely. And that's where you find things, because many cases people see an obvious problem. Oh, that person drinks, that person what. When in many cases it is a symptom. It's not the problem.
Correct.
And so much of our society is instant gratification. I want to fix this, so I go there, they get me off, and without realizing it never goes away. But you go and you find out what the real cause is. And it could be something, very often it's something in childhood or something. And
NLP is very good for that too.
NLP, we're taught in NLP. Now there's two different kinds of people in the world. There's a very direct physical person, and they're very easily hypnotized. Then there's another type of person who is emotional, what we call, and you hypnotize them totally different. And NLP does this opposite side. It's called misdirection. Now you have to be really careful with hypnosis, and through misdirection.
I would think a more logical mind is more difficult to hypnotize.
It actually is the other way around.
Really?
The smarter a mind is, the more brilliant a mind is, the easier it is to hypnotize, because they intuitively they understand what's going on. See, let's define what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is not sleep. Anything you see in movies, anything you see on stage, please throw that completely out of your mind. When you're properly hypnotized, it is, I help you hypnotize yourself. Now, every person is hypnotized twice a day. The last 5 minutes before you go to sleep, and the first 5 minutes, that is a state of hypnosis. And everyone experiences hypnosis. How many of us who drive a car can't remember how we got to somewhere? Well, I remember, and then you got there, and you were thinking so much of things. Now, when you started as a car driver, you couldn't do that. Your attention was there completely. But what has happened, you're so used to driving now, your subconscious totally takes over, and you think of all these things, and that is hypnosis. So when you're put into trance, what happens is that you're relaxed, your brain waves go, and that is, if you do meditation, you know exactly what this feels like, because you remain conscious the whole time. So meditation is very helpful. And sometimes in yoga, you get into that lowered brainwave state. It's an altered state of consciousness. That's why all those things are so
would you say
good.
meditation and hypnosis are synonymous in a way?
Yes, one is self-hypnosis and the other one is that. And of course, hypnosis can be from a person, it can be from a recording, or it can come from yourself. Yeah. You're right. So you're absolutely right. It lowers the brainwave. And what happens when the lower brainwaves come down is your subconscious becomes more, because you've got a veil in front of it. It's called your conscious mind. I don't like that. Let's do this. It's very controlling. It's very critical. And it gets in the way. But if you raise the veil and you go into talk directly to subconscious, and I want you to remember, subconscious never, ever forgets any. You say, I have no memory at all. Through hypnosis, you can be taken into the subconscious and you have perfect recall. In fact, it's like a person looking at a picture. You took a picture, but you didn't see anything at the time. You were there. And so you can say, okay, did you see a car go by? Yeah. Did it have a license plate? Well, it must have had a license plate, but I didn't see it. Take the person under trance, in trance, and you say, can you see it? Well, it's a little dirty. Well, take a cloth in your mind and wash the white license plate.
Right.
They do it, and what's the number? It's 123 SRT.